All right, so I think we can start now. Once again, welcome, guys. I would share my screen. If you can hear me, I think you guys can hear me. Yeah. So let me just begin. My name is Vincent. I think I should start there. And I'm a front end developer. So I focus mainly on web development and all of that. Um, so today I want to take something on something I discovered quite a while ago, how to create something like this. This is an FAQ page. So you have the top. When you click on it, it expands and shows its contents, and when you click on it, it's closed back, and that's just how it works. um, Normally you would feel that, okay, to achieve this you would need JavaScript, but not necessary. You can achieve something as cool as this using just HTML and CSS, and that's what we want to do today. That's what we want to achieve today. So without taking any more of your time, let's just get right to it. I want to take this thing from scratch so that on your own, if you feel like practicing, you can also practice on your own, and you know how I began and everything. So I think the first thing I would like to do is I'd like to create a folder on my homepage. Those who know Luffy, you know what's this. Gear 5. Alright, so let me just call this accordion. Let me call the folder accordion. And then I'm going to open VS Code, which is already open, and I'm going to open that folder. So I'll go to File, Open Folder. I'll go to the desktop and I'll select accordion, which is this, and open it, select folder. And we give it some time for it to open. Alright, let's go back to VS Code, and this is what we have, right? This is our VS Code. Now our VS Code is empty, so we need some files. The first file, most time you will need, this is just a welcome screen, so just ignore it. The first file you would need, okay, let me accept some persons in. I would have loved somebody to do this actually, but it's fine. I'll try to cope. So the first file you will need is we're going to create an index file, index.html file, and then we're also going to create a style.css file. We don't want to go into much detail, but index files are just most times like the home page. They contain your home page and stuff. So it's just one of the files you see on your website, and one of the pages rather you see on your website. And then styles is used to style your website. So that's as simple as I can explain it. Now I'll fill this up with my boilerplate that currently contains nothing really. It's just this boilerplate. And then if I click on go live, okay, I'm not capturing go live, or those who are, like, I'm recording, so those who are watching this may not see it, but it's fine. So there's a go live. There's a plugin I installed. If you go to extensions, you can just search for live server. It's among my installed extensions. It's by RateWeekday. So you just click on it, you install it. It's already installed, but you just click on the button install, and that's that, and you have it. Yeah. And then on the bottom right you see a go live button. So if you click on go live, it opens the site, right? It opens the site, which is of course empty because we don't have anything on the site currently. Let's give it a few moments for it to open up. Okay, yeah, I think it's open now. All right, so we have this document here. It's empty, but if you notice up here, it has a title called document. So I want to change that title to accordion. So I would say accordion. Hopefully I can spell that. Okay, yeah. And now it has changed to accordion, and that's fine. Now I think the last thing we want to do is we want to link this style.css, what we use to style the website. We want to link it to our index page. So to do that, alright, so to do that I'm just going to write link because I don't have strengths. I'll just write link and then CSS and my tab key, and it's just going to fill it for me. So what I'm saying is I want to link this document to the style sheet, which is this style.css, because the name is style.css, right? So if I go to style.css for instance, and I say, on the body I want the background color to be red, for instance, and I visit the site, you see it's red, right? Because I have linked this file style.css to this document. Yeah, using this link. Yeah. Of course, if I rename this to styles.css, it won't work. It goes off because there is no file called styles.css. So I'll have to come here and then rename this file to styles.css, and it works now. So the point I'm just trying to make here is that you can name your styling document anything you like, right? But your index has to be index.html, because when you go to a live server, it searches for index.html. So make sure your HTML document is index.html. That's as it's that's that simple. So we want to start off now. The first part of this, because this is what we are trying to create, right? So the first part says frequently asked questions. So I'm going to create a header tag, and I'm going to just add a h1 tag inside, and then say frequently asked questions. Let me see, questions, yeah. And now when you go to the site, we have our frequently asked questions. Oh my god, this is terrible. So let me take off this background here. Yeah, and then we have this. Okay, there's a couple of things I want to do here. It doesn't matter. I mean, personally, you can ask me what these are, but to save time, I will just do them. So what I'm doing is just to remove the styling that comes with your browser. You know, Chrome, blah blah blah, Mozilla, Edge. Yeah, so all those, even if you don't add any styling, all those browsers, they come with their own styling, default styling. So I'm just trying to clear it off so that we start the document from scratch. Every styling seen on the website is from us. So that's why I'm clearing the margin, the padding that comes with the browser. Alright, so hopefully that was clear. So what's next, right? So we have frequently asked questions. I want our font, right? I don't like this font. It looks too bad. I will use Franklin Gothic. I think Franklin Gothic looks better. Yeah, I think it looks better, right? So now we have our header tag. I want it to be in the center. So what I'm going to do is this H1, I'll go to the style, and then I would say H1, I've targeted you, and I want your text align to the center. I want you to be in the center. And now this guy is now in the center of the page. Right, so it's really that simple. For those of you who are designers, you see, tech is very easy, like coding, very easy. very easy. And then I want to put a bit of spacing at the top. This is too close to the top, so I'll just say margin top, right? If you are familiar with Figma, I mean, this is almost like Figma. I can just say like 5% from the top, and then it gives me this nice spacing at the top, and that's fine, right? So what next? Next is now the reason why we're here. We want to create an accordion, which is these 4 different things. What is HTML, blah blah blah, right? So all right, so there is a tag in HTML called the details tag, and it is so good that when I discovered it, I have never turned back. Like, I've never looked back and tried to use JavaScript to do anything that HTML can do. Like, why bother, right? Yeah, it only makes sense to make use of HTML if HTML can do it, and that is why I'm making use of HTML. So the tag is called the details tag. Some of you may have heard of it, some may have not, but whichever, it's fine. So I'm going to create a main tag, and then inside my main tag, I'm going to create a details tag. Now inside the details tag, I'm going to create 2 things. I'm going to create a summary tag. I'm going to write a H1 in the summary, and then I'll name this, I'll say what is HTML. So I'll say what is HTML, and then the answer, I'll just write a p tag here. A p tag stands for paragraph, right, of text. So I'll just say HTML is whatever you want HTML to be. Of course this is wrong, but no, we are trying to save time here. So now this is what we have, right? So what we did is we just said we have a details tag, we have a summary which contains the question, what is this, and then we have a p tag inside that contains the answer. So let's see what we currently have. So we currently have okay, sorry, let me make this h2. Sorry, Um, so what happened there is this frequently asked question, we've centered it here if you remember, and then we're still using h1 here as well, so it's also going to affect this guy. So that's why I changed from h1 to h2, so it doesn't affect anything. So we can continue. So now look at what we have here. We have what is HTML, right? And then when you click on this arrow here, we have the answer. HTML is whatever you want it to be. And when you click on the arrow, it goes off. You click, it comes up. Yeah, very beautiful. It looks terrible actually, but at least we're making progress. Let's make like 4 more of this. So let's see what is CSS. CSS is used for styling your website. So let's come here and say what is JavaScript, and you can say JavaScript is a necessary evil. I have to spell evil well. Come on, this is JavaScript we're talking about. So sorry about that. Delete. Yeah. Then what else? What is your name? My name is Vincent. Although they've forced me to be Von. This is beer. I just want to have five items. And then lastly, what is your favorite football club? What is your favorite football club? And then the answer, please don't make me cry. Anyways, Chelsea. All right. Okay. So we have these questions. We have 5 different questions, and each of these 5 different questions has, each of them has their answers. What is HTML? What is CSS? What is JavaScript? You can collapse them, and you know you can't use this on a client's website, right? But I mean, it doesn't look so bad. Sorry, it looks bad, but it's not something we can use in production. So we have to like style it, make it look good, which is where CSS of course comes in. So let's do a bit of styling. So this can look like what we have here. This looks good. This looks very, very good. So how can we do this? First of all, we want to center this guy, right? So what I would do is all right, so let me place everything inside a div, right? Let me place everything inside a div. Now we have just one div on the side, so let me see if this would work. So we want to give this div, which is the container, want to give it a width. So the full width is 100%, but we don't want the full width. We want it to be in the center, right? So we can just say the full width is like 40% or something, and then we use margin 0 or 2 to take it to the center. Yeah. All right. So if I inspect to show you what actually is happening, if I go to the div, which is here, up here, you see that the div is just 40% of the whole page, right? So the margins auto just centers everything. Left, right just comes to the center. So that's what's happening there. If you do not understand clearly, don't worry yourself. In time it becomes clearer, right? So what else am I going to do? I don't like, it's very close to this guy. It's very close to this field of last question. So I want to add a bit of space in here. So what I would do is in the H1, instead of saying just 5% margin top, I would say 5% top, 0 left and right. This is just shorthand, and then 2% bottom. Alright, so this is 5% at the top, then this is 2% bottom, then left and right there's no margin. So that's what happened here. Yeah. So let's go to the meat of the issue now. Let's try to style this guy. So this guy has the detail stack has a border of top only. So I'll just go to the styling. I'll say the details. I want you to have a border top of solid 1px and black, right? Then if you check the site, you see that now normally if I had said just border, just so you understand what's happening here, if I had said just border, it would just put a border top, left, right, bottom, and all of that. But that's not what we have here. We just have just the top. So that is why instead of saying just border, I made it top. So top solid, the thickness is 1px, and then the color of the thing is black. So if I made this red, then it will now be red. It will no longer be black. So that's the explanation of this whole code. So you can also make this dotted if you like dotted. Then it's now dots, dots, which is not what we want. All right. Okay. So that's what we currently have. We want to do something. We want this because currently this item, we don't want this item to be here, right? We don't want it to be here. We instead want to take it off and then keep this guy or add this guy. So how do we take this guy off? How do we take this bros off? What we can do is we can say, okay, on the details tag, we want to change the summary, the display of the summary tag. We want to change it from what it is currently to a block. So we change the display to a block, and that will take away the guy beside it. But you might be wondering, okay, why did that happen? Why did that happen? So let's see why that happened. Let me comment out this guy, then go back to how it was. So currently, if I inspect the summary tag, you will discover that its display type is a list item, right? So what we are currently seeing here are just markers. So the display of the summary tag, if you check my console here, you see that the details tag, the display is called list item. So that's the default display of the summary tag, list item. So these are just markers, right? But if I change that display and say, you know what, I no longer want it to be like that, I just want it to be like a block or a flex item or whatever, it will just take it off because now it's no longer a list item. So it takes off the markers away from it. And it still works, right? It still works. It's not as if it's spoiled anything. It's still working properly. So, yeah. Alright, so let's go to, sorry, let me accept somebody in. Of course, if you have questions at the end of this session, you can always ask, but let's just quickly try to complete everything first. So currently we have this guy, right? So we want to put a bit of spacing up. It's too choked. All right, so what I'll do is on the, I think on the summary, no, sorry, on the details. So on the details tag, I'm just going to put a bit of padding, and then I'll still use shorthand. At the top and bottom, we want some padding. We want it to be like, I don't know. Let me use a fixed value. Let me just say like 1.5 rem, and then 0. So what this is saying is that top and bottom is 1.5 rem, left and right is 0. So now we have, if I had done just 1.5 rem, right, you'd see that to the left there's a padding, and here there's a padding as well. You can't see it because this text doesn't stretch all the way here, but there's a padding here. But now we just want it to affect just the top and bottom. So this is the shorthand. So top and bottom 1.5 rem, left and right is 0, and now we have this and everything still works really well in my opinion. Okay, all right, so I think the last part of this whole session is to add this bros here, which is this item here, this plus and minus. So let's get those items first. I personally make use of icon finder. It has proved to be really life-saving for me. So so most times I just use icon finder to get my icons. So I would use this really slim one. I think I like it. I would use SVG. Yeah, I use SVG. So I'll download it. This is plus. I'll search for minus as well. I'll search for minus. Then I'll get minus, which is, I don't know. I think this is fine as well. 10. I also go for SVG. SVG is like a picture type, picture format. So So I will download it as well. Yeah, so it's downloaded. So what I'll do now is I'll go to my downloads. I'll copy both of them, which is this and this. I'll copy them. I'll go back to my accordion. This is the folder. I'll create a new folder just for my assets. So I'll name this folder assets folder, and I'll place the accordions inside. So the first one is plus, so I'm going to name it plus. The second one is minus. I'm going to name it minus. So yeah, so now we have our plus and minus. Of course, it will not appear here because we've not made use of it, but it's here. If you go to assets here, you see the minus and plus. All right, so how do we make use of this? There is something called pseudo elements. Maybe, like I said, I'll be doing this every Friday, just stuff that I feel like it's cool. Pseudo elements is something I would also love to like take, but I'll try to make it very simple so that you understand at least what it is. So pseudo elements basically, they are used to add stuff to your elements, and the one we want to make use of today is called before or after. Well, I'll make use of after, right? So what that simply means is on the summary tag, which is this, after it, which is at the end of it, we want to add something. And like we know, what we want to add is we want to add this minus or this plus or whatever. We want to add it somewhere here. So this is the element. Now after it, we want to add stuff here. So how do we do that? Mind you, we're making use of the summary tag. So I'm just going to come here and I'll say summary, and I'll say after, that is after the summary, I want the content to be empty. No, I don't want the content to be empty. I'll write the URL to that item. So I would say assets slash plus, because plus is the default, right? Assets dot plus. Here I'll make this relative. I'll make the position to be relative. Yeah, and then here I would make the position to be absolute. And yeah, let's see what we have currently. so look, this looks terrible, but these are the pluses. Normally, now they're meant to be beside each of them. We have like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they're supposed to be beside them. So how do we do that? We're going to use the top. So we can say top is going to be 0, left is going to be 0 as well, and then let me try to do something. Let me try to open this with Chrome. Oh, really big. Okay. Okay, just to save time, let me try to do something else. Just to save time, I want to know what really is the problem, so I'll try to get something that's non-SVG. Any would actually work, but I just prefer SVGs. So let's try that again. Let's copy this. Let's go to, let's make it plus.png, and then on our code, let's just change this to PNG. Let's see what we have. Okay. All right. So I think the problem was the size, although that should not actually be a problem. Maybe next time, maybe I'll try to like find out why that happened. But I think if you select the item and you change the size, it should also work. But for whatever reason, that did not work, so I don't know. So let's just stick to PNG, and any of them is fine. You can use PNG, you can use, like I said. So it's not as if we are trading off anything, right? Any is fine. It's just a matter of preference. So I would go to minus. Let's get the minus again. I would go to PNG. I'll download PNG, because now I want to get rid of the SVGs and just use PNG and stuff. So copy the PNG, go back, paste, Yeah, I think we are getting closer to the end. All right, so one thing I don't like it being here. I don't like it being here, so I will take it away, because if you check this, let me see. Okay, this is at the end though, but it's a bit inside this. So instead of saying 0, I would change the right to, I don't know, like 2% something, so that it gets inside the bracket a little. Okay, let me say 5%. Yeah. Okay, let me say 15%. So we're saying how many percent away from the edge. That's what we're doing here. Yeah, so it's really straightforward. So this is too much. So let's make it 10. 10. There are individuals who would use fixed width, like pixels and stuff. I am strongly against using fixed width. Just use your percentages, guys, please. Yeah. So this is not in the center. The plus, it's not really in the center of what we have. So from the top, it's going to be, let's use let me see what's happening here first before we even do that. All right, so this is the summary here, and the plus is, like, you see it's selected, so that's where the summary is. So the plus is bigger than it. That's why it's like it's somewhere down. But I think I like where it's positioned though. I don't know. Or let's say 30%. 35. Okay. Let's see what we have. Ah, not so bad. It's like a hack, but it's not so. It's like a hack. I'm not comfortable with this, but just to save time, let's just stick with that. All right, so we have this. Then we want to, when we click, we want this to change to a minus, like just like this guy. So when you click, this changes to a minus. So how we do that is actually simple. I'm just going to copy everything we have here, right? And then I'll take it down. And then I would say here, I would say if details is open, then I want this stuff to be, instead of plus, I want it to be minus. So that's basically what happened there. So if I click on this, it's now minus. Click on this, it's now minus. It's plus, it's plus, it's minus. I don't like this stuff at all. I don't like what's happening here. Yeah, but anyway, that's the, I think the only thing I want to add here is that for interactivity, so that somebody knows that, okay, you can click on this. Normally when you hover over like a link or something, it turns to a hand that, okay, I can click on this stuff. Yeah, so I would love to like add that to the details tag or the summary tag. So you can just make your cursor to be pointer, so that way if somebody hovers over it, it turns to a hand, and the person knows that, okay, yeah, I can click on this stuff and stuff will happen. Yeah. Again, I'm still not like comfortable with this whole thing, so let's just do it minus 10%, I think, or 20%, 25%. Yeah, I think this looks better. Yeah, it's a hack, but it works, so all right. So maybe next session I would like to just go through it and see what exactly happened, because I must have made an error somewhere. You can always style your p tags and the rest to get what you want, because I personally do not like I do not like just black, right? Like 000. I like a shade of black or something. So go to your H1. You can make the font weight to be like 500, I don't know. Then your p tag to be increase the size to like 20 pixels or something. So once you open it, it's a bit bigger. You can add a bit of margin to the top, so you can say margin top, it's like 1 or 4 pixels or something, so there's a bit of space at the top here, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much it.